Welcome to the Written by Wolves podcast. Today, I am joined by two very special people from a very special band, Lee and Kane from Crooked Royals. How are you guys going?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Good, yeah. It's been a big day. I just came back from work and I feel bad. I was answering bloody phone calls about patients and things when you guys were waiting, but we're sus now. The phone is off. No one's died. No one is coming.
That's all good. We were having a nice little chat before. So.
Yeah, it's great.
We were saying before as well, like I really enjoy doing these podcasts because it's like such a good way of just getting to know everyone and like kind of connect with people on a proper level. Like you always go to shows and like you'll bump into each other here and there, but I don't know. I just like I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a small talk kind of guy.
Nah, I'm not. It's weird. It's weird because you kind of have to be, but like,
yeah.
And I'm definitely not. But like, you get in these weird little things. Like, you get like 10-minute slots to talk to everyone.
Exactly.
And it's always the same conversation. And then there's some people you actually are like, fuck, I actually really want to talk to you about stuff. But this ain't gonna happen here.
You're getting pulled especially when it's your own show. Like, I have this real. Like, when you guys do your shows, do you tend to like hang around beforehand and stuff like that?
Yeah, we try to interact as much as we can, but I guess it's trying to balance it. And when you have to do things, you have to find a polite way to be like, hey, I need to go to work.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I come back?
I was talking to someone about this yesterday when we finished. I don't have a way out of conversations ever. So like if like they're ever getting to a point where I'm literally just like, okay, I do actually need to go do something. I'm so bad at being like, I need to go. Like, so I'll just stay in the conversation.
Yeah.
Just awkward as fuck. Like, just looking at my thing, just like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And then like, I really wait for it to run dry. It's just like, fuck, I've really got to start getting good at being like, I'm really sorry, I got to go, I got shit to do. Or like, just a nicer way to say that.
Yeah, I guess you can't fall back on, I need to set up something.
Yeah, because I'm fucked. They know I ain't setting up shit.
Well, you merch it, you never know. It's interesting. I would say I'm the opposite, and that I had this phase and I've gotten way better, but I used to have this social anxiety thing where my main thing was like, if I leave early, then people will never realize that I'm awkward. And like, so I would often excuse myself prematurely in concern of like having that awkward silence. Okay. So say like I'd come in real hot, like be quite funny, and they'd be like, oh, I got to go. And I'd have nowhere to go, and then I'd like walk away and be like, why did I do that? I've gotten better at it now, but it was a real thing. It was funny.
At least you leave an impression though. There's nothing worse than like leaving it on an awkward note and being like, well, that was uncomfortable. Like that's the last thing they'll ever remember of me.
Yeah. But I also feel like there's something to be said about like just being comfortable with like just standing there and being like,
just chill.
Yeah.
Being your own personal, whatever, mistakes, awkwardness, everything in one.
I would say that I don't think you're friends with someone until you can be silent. Like if you can't just sit and chill and do nothing, I don't think you're actually, if you feel like in your head you're like, someone needs to say something, then I always feel like you're not actually close. You're not very close.
Yeah, it's true actually. Mikey's like the king of small talk. He can, not that he's superficial, but he's just.
It's an art.
It is.
It's really hard.
It is, yeah.
To be interesting in such a short period, like a short window, and be like, yo, yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So you guys have just finished your tour for Life Daydream.
Yep.
Was that your essentially like your album release tour?
Yep.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
And obviously it's been out for a while now, but you guys have just been like smashing it out with all these awesome like international supports.
Yeah.
How's it been being able to do your own headline show?
It's been cool. I do prefer not headlining, I won't lie.
Yeah.
Only because of the wait. Like the wait is the only thing I don't like. Waiting until 10:30 p.m. to play is not as fun as like. It's cool when you're like, oh, we're the headliner, but yeah, the wait is not fun.
Third or second is a nice spot.
Yeah, third and second is perfect. It's exactly where you want to be.
But, 100%.
But as in like the shows and everything, and just the turnout and people coming out and just supporting us and stuff, it's been wild. Honestly,
yeah,
it's been cool as fuck. Like we really didn't expect it. We thought it would do quite well. And then we would just sort of like do better than because we'd always like incrementally got a little bit better. More people would come out, more people would listen. But this went from literally like us basically doing nothing to just sold out shows and people actually listening and a lot of people talking to us on social media and stuff. So it's
crazy.
It's been kind of wild. So it's
definitely
really cool.
Shattered the expectations that we thought.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We went into it not knowing really what would happen when we release it, and then it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah,
it's been nice.
so you guys, for those who don't know, you signed to Periphery's label, 3 Dot Recordings.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was like just sort of midway through lockdown, is that right?
Yeah. That was awesome because I love Periphery.
Yeah.
So
It's like his favorite band.
trying not to fanboy when we signed it.
Yeah.
I think the best thing was just knowing like, hey, these guys have actually checked us out and they've listened to our music and they approve.
It's
and that was
not-
That's
not
like the
shit.
ultimate compliment. Hey?
yeah, and a lot of people don't really understand sometimes what that means in terms of like songwriting and stuff. And just knowing that people you look up to in terms of songwriting actually give a shit about your music as well. It's a nice compliment.
It's really cool.
That's a good point, actually, because like I guess a lot of people sort of maybe a little bit further outside of the music industry, like most record labels and things, it's almost purely a money game. It's like who will get us the return on investment, and they might have some musicians in the play here and there, but to have like a label like that where like they are known for their music, they're still performing at the top of their game in music, that's the ultimate compliment.
Yeah. It was really cool. We didn't really believe it when it first came through. I remember we saw it and we were like, nah. And then we just kind of let it slide. And then I think like a week passed and then Lucas hit us. I was like, by the way, that's real. Like you should probably like be getting back
reply.
on that. Yeah, probably. We were like, all right, fuck.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
That's so sick. That's so sick. Well, before I dig too deep into the Periphery thing, I don't even know if I need to necessarily do this, but I've done it, and let us know in the comments if you don't think I need to do it. But I'll continue with the theme. What have you guys been watching? What have you guys been listening to? What have you been reading?
Do you want to go first?
Okay. In terms of reading, not much.
Yeah.
I'll be straight up. In
Fair.
terms of watching, I've been watching a lot of older stuff now. In terms of like movies like The Waterboy and
Oh, yo,
George
you've
of
only
the Jungle.
just...
No. Yeah, Waterboy is my favorite movie of all
favorite
time.
I see. I think
I can quote that from start to finish. Anyways, just a lot of older stuff. I started watching Scrubs for the first time.
Scrubs is
So
amazing.
I'm just watching a lot of things that I think I've like missed. I watched Interstellar recently for the first time.
Oh.
So I'm just ticking off all these old things, and I'm just trying to get more recommendations and being like, what else have I missed in my life that I need to double.
I'm so happy you're watching Scrubs, because when you get to the Guy Love moment, I'm going to force you to learn it. And then when we have those horrible moments where strings break on stage, we'll sing Guy Love.
Okay, yeah, that works. In terms of music, though, Periphery's new album, 100%. I think it's my favorite album of the year.
nice.
And I have a little playlist that gets curated for like new music, and I just like trying to find new bands. I think I found a lot of bands from Australia that I never even heard of. I found Invent Animate from a long time ago through these playlists, and I didn't realize how big they were. And then I checked out their stuff and fell in love with a lot of their stuff. Yeah,
Sick.
Yeah, hell yeah. I just rewatched all of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Which was quite
Nice.
cool. I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah.
how they still stand up. They're
Yeah,
actually still
bro.
good. Like, I thought they would be pretty dated because they're quite old, but I just rewatched all that. I'm big into like fantasy and all my like nerd stuff. So there was a TV show that I've been trying to think of the whole time you were talking, and my mind has been blanking the whole time. I loved it, and the fact I can't remember its name is crazy.
describe it.
It's got Stephen Yeun in it. It was like the really popular thing on Netflix recently, where they hate each other. Him and
The new one, right?
yeah.
That's sort of real nihilistic and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
super nihilistic. It's where they're like arguing the whole time, and they have this like grudge against each other, and they're going back and forth. I keep wanting to say bear, but it's not, and it's been bothering me the whole time.
Not beef?
Beef.
Oh,
That was
I
it.
love
It
Beef.
was bothering me the whole time. I loved Beef. I thought
need
Beef
to
was
watch
amazing.
it. Honestly, I'm so bad with like, considering like I bring this up in the thing, I really need to get better at like keeping up to date with current stuff. Have you watched Breaking Bad?
No, is that the next thing?
My gosh.
Okay.
You got to watch
love
Breaking Bad.
Bad.
Okay.
That is
Everyone
the
keeps
best.
telling me Breaking Bad is like the best series of all time.
It's
Yeah, man.
Okay.
wild.
Okay.
It's
I might
wild.
dive into it. Yeah.
It keeps you on the edge of your seat, and just how dark it is. It's so dark.
You got to get through the first 2 seasons. My dad's been watching. He's like, I don't know if it's for me. I was like, you got to get through it.
It picks up. Okay.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I stopped watching it after the first season originally and just didn't like it, and
Yeah.
then forced my way through. And then when I did get into it, I think it was when I can't give you spoilers.
Don't
I can't give spoilers to you. God damn it. But yeah. When all the stuff happens in like season 3, like end of season 2, it gets a bit wild. You're like, okay,
it ramps up so quick, and then it kind of doesn't really stop in ways. Interestingly, you wouldn't think it necessarily, but the most probably medically accurate medical show is definitely Scrubs.
I've heard that. Yeah,
that was so weird. When I'm the biggest Scrubs fan. I've probably watched it back to front 3 times. I don't know why. I just loved it as a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird when I found out that it's like super medically accurate, even though it's like a comedy. Well, it's a dramedy, isn't it? Like, there's a little bit of drama in there.
And they I think it's just the way that they sort of like show what the sort of encounters are like and what the team dynamic is like as well.
Yeah.
Which is real cool. Yeah. It's funny, like I remember going all through med school, like I never wanted to watch anything to do with medicine because it's like it was enough of my life and it gave me anxiety and stress. And now I'm like, oh, this is like, this is nice. This is all right. Yeah.
It humanizes the whole situations as well. It doesn't like dramatize them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dramatize.
Yeah. Dramatize.
It is. It's based around the doctor though, isn't it? Like JD's a real person. Like it's based around the guy who made it. His name is JD. I don't think his name's John Dorian, but his name's JD.
Yeah.
The abbreviation, and it's the person who created it. It was his roommate in college.
Oh wow!
And he ended up being a doctor. So when he made the show, he went to him and he gave him all the stories. So that's why it's so accurate because all the stories are actually based on stuff that he made, and then he made a comedy out of it.
No way.
Yeah. So they're real scenarios that he's obviously like amped up and then comedified.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me anything about it. On Lord of the Rings, I just finished the audiobooks. Andy Serkis narrates the audiobooks.
That's
and
amazing.
It's insane. Like it is so good.
Epic.
It's kind of weird though, like because I tend to listen to fiction audiobooks like when I'm going to bed.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember like the first time Gollum comes in and I was like half asleep and then like it's so accurate and it feels like he does the breathing and shit. And it's like, oh my God.
Night terrors.
It's so good. I was watching it the other day and I was like, Gollum's the best character. I didn't realize it back when I was like younger. Yeah, he's the best character. He's like the driving force for like pretty much all of it.
Okay.
Like he's like the only thing that stops. Like if he's never there, like they don't get to where they need to go.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have like all the antagonistic part of them actually like never normally finishing.
Yeah.
He's like the best part of the story.
I think anyway. I think three eagles at the end.
Yeah. Oh God.
They always meant to save him, man. They always meant to save him.
Yeah.
He's definitely the most annoying, but yeah, you're right. Like he's
just so necessary. Like that's the only thing. Like he's annoying, but he's just so necessary to the story. Like if you take him out, he's just like, oh, okay, well, there's a giant. It's like half the story gone.
It's not Jar Jar Binks, yeah.
It's kind of wild. It's not Jar Jar Binks.
Anything particular you've been listening to?
What am I listening to mostly at the moment? Sleep Token.
Yeah.
I think that's a given. Everyone's listening to
I was
Sleep
going to
Token.
say, I was thinking to myself, are you guys going to be the first people not to mention Sleep Token?
Yeah, it's got to be Sleep Token.
You have to dive in.
Yeah,
sometimes.
100%.
I'm trying to think of like a niche band to like say about someone that I'm actually listening. Mirrors from Australia.
Yes.
They're like a small, well, not that small, but they're like a decent local band in Australia. They're killing it. I really like them.
Yeah, you showed them to me, right? Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Landmarks, they're like my favourite band at the moment.
Love Landmarks.
Yeah, hell
Yo.
yeah. I think Flo is the best vocalist in metal for me at the moment.
His flow is insane.
His flow is wild. Yeah.
And back on the topic of Periphery.
Yep.
So you guys are supporting them on their upcoming tour.
Yeah, hell yeah. In Europe.
Crazy.
Which will be
wild. Completely wild.
Which is, fucking nuts.
I've never even been to Europe before.
Yeah. I was about to say, I haven't. I'm from there.
Yeah.
I almost said, me neither.
Have you got a particular place that you're looking forward to?
Mine will be London. Like going back home and playing in London. The fact that I moved over here like 7 years ago and then I'm going to go, like I haven't been back in 4 years. So the fact that my second time back is to go and play Camden Roundhouse is just wild. All my friends are just going to be like, how is this dickhead ended up playing at this venue?
Yeah, that is so sick actually. Like the ultimate sort of like full circle moment.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
I think some tears will be shed when I hit that stage. Because I've seen like every band I've ever loved like on that stage. That'll be
wild.
Nuts. Yeah.
Wild.
So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so just like to even walk into that venue when it's empty and then like stand on stage will be crazy. And then all my friends and family will be there. So that's,
it's going to be a very special moment, yeah.
And the fact it's the last 2 shows as well. So it's like the right at the end. So we'll be fully in like tour mode and it'll be like probably the best we end up performing as well. Because obviously it's always, when you're in like full tour mode, you're literally like, when you get like closer to the end, you're like, oh, now we're good.
Yeah, man, the ultimate celebration.
Yeah.
It's so true. Oh, that's going to be so sick.
Yeah, so I'm hyped. But to be fair, most of the hype is just to get there and go and play with Periphery. And
100%.
There's a bit of nerves too.
It's crazy nerves. They're only one of the tightest bands in the world. Like
something would be going wrong if you were nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's mad respect for their musicianship, whatever they have.
Yeah, it wouldn't be human if we wasn't nervous. Because they're wild. Like their whole thing is that they're like the tightest live band. So we had like little chats and we was like, we're never going to be like tighter than them. So the only thing we can really work on is just stage presence and performance. We have to just be go out and do a performance. Don't go out and try and be as tight as Periphery. It's not going to
leave it all out there.
Yeah, leave it all out there if you want to try and, because like it is going to be a bunch of people. Like we have a semi-decent amount of listeners in Europe, but it's nothing that's like going to be drastic. So most of the people that are coming there are coming to see Periphery, so it's going to be a lot of arms folded, kind of impress me kind of crowd. So
a lot of an audience that is there for the taking, though.
Yeah. So that's the whole like way we're looking at it. So if
it's part of the fun, winning them over, you know.
Yeah, hell yeah. When you win over, there's nothing better than winning over a crowd that didn't like. You came out and they
quiet
were
at the beginning, and then by the end you have them.
Yeah.
Best feeling.
The ultimate challenge. Oh man, that's so sick. So is it 2 shows like back to back in London, or
it's 2 shows? It's the only one they're doing 2 shows for is London. Because I'm guessing their biggest I
think they're the biggest markets. That's the biggest venues too, right?
Yeah, because most of the venues are like between 1,000 to like 1,800 cap, I think, and then London's like 3,000, so it's crazy. So it's like a big jump, and then it's 2 nights in a row, which is
my gosh,
wild. So yeah, to say I'll be scared is a fucking.
We're doing Copenhagen too. Christian's gonna love that.
Yeah, Christian's from Denmark. So.
Of course. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's so sick.
That's special for both of these boys.
Which is so awesome.
Special for everyone, but hometown things are special, you know.
Yeah,
100%. I mean, it was a big deal when I played Dunedin.
Dunedin
is. It was. I think if you remove a 0 from the capacity, it might be similar to the Roundhouse. But even then, like there's something so special about going to the places where you've grown up and when you've seen other people, and having people who know you and like to be like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, for sure.
The fact that like all we play to our own shows is like 150 to 200, and
which is still impressive.
Yeah, which is dope. Like it's like but the biggest we've ever played is 500. So I went online and looked at what like 3,000 people is because I watched like their last show there and just scared the shit out of myself. I don't know why I did it. I was like, let's see what it would be like. And I looked at it and was like, oh yeah, I'm scared. Yeah.
It's funny. It's weird. I don't even know why I'm saying this because it makes it sound like we've played in front of crazy, crazy crowds. But like, it kind of gets...
you guys have done big festivals and stuff. So you do what's the Wellington one every year? Homegrown,
that was good.
That's got to be like 3,000-4,000 people, isn't it?
The massive supports as well. Power Station.
Yeah, Power Station stuff, that's like 1,500. That's crazy.
It is. It's the crazy one was we did... when we opened for Pendulum.
Oh shit! That went fucking wild.
That was insane. Like, I think it was maybe 5,000 or something. But whatever it was was the first time, and it was dark as well. And I have astigmatism, and I'm short-sighted.
Oh
so
shit!
These are all things. But to me, there looked like there were people as far as the eye could see.
Oh no, it would have been.
And it's just like. And I remember the other thing was it was like 2, because Owakuni is like a ski resort place. And
was it in Owakuni?
Yeah, Owakuni, like dead in winter. And I remember we were all standing backstage and we were literally like all trying to figure out ways to keep our hands warm because like it was that cold. We're just like, oh, if you blow into it, oh no, if you rub it, it's better. Yeah. And like all this, and you walk out and it was insane. It was so big for me. Like I remember as a kid, the amount of times I watched Pendulum at Glastonbury, the pyramid stage. Like I watched that so many times, and then to be playing before them was insane.
One of my top 5 shows of all time is Pendulum. Pendulum at Reading Festival. They were amazing in this giant tent of like 15,000 people. It was nuts. They was so squashed in there that they were just spraying down the crowd with like hoses because it was so hot, like middle of summer. Like everyone was just soaked, and they've literally just spraying people down with these giant hoses, and it was awesome though. Like no one cared.
Yeah. There to see Pendulum. Yeah,
there to see Pendulum. And obviously everyone was inebriated. We'll go with inebriated.
Yeah, yeah. That was another thing. Was like I've bumped into so many people who were there, and it'd be like, oh, do you remember? What did you think of the band that opened for them? And the most common response is, bro, I don't remember anything. I was so fucked. And it's like, bro. I mean, they got really into it.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Is it true that the first show you went to was Arctic Monkeys and the Kooks?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, I went and saw the Kooks at the Roundhouse. Yeah, which was crazy.
Spoiled little boy.
Right, you got to make the most of it when you're in there.
Yeah. Which was literally like the pinnacle of when like Naive came out as well. So it's like Kooks when they were like the Kooks, and there's like and like Arctic Monkeys as well. Which was
that the same show?
No, two separate shows.
Yeah,
They're completely two separate shows. I don't know if they ever played together there, but yeah, they used to play a lot together like back around then, and then like Enter Shikari and stuff around that sort of time as well, seeing them in like capacities of like what we played last night, which is kind of crazy. So seeing Enter Shikari at like 200 people in like a crappy little, well, it's like a semi pub that they've like built a venue in the back of, like, and now you look at it and it's just like, fuck, that's wild. Oh, Royal Blood. So Royal Blood with 50 people in a pub in Bedford.
Oh my gosh.
Just before anyone knew them, which was wild, and there was like no one there.
Yeah. Man, those guys I remember I saw them at Logan Campbell, and like, it's like insane how, I mean, I guess when there's two of you got to be tight, but like, man, that would have been something else.
That was one of the tightest live shows I've ever seen. And the fact that they were like, I think they were so new as well, because I think they got found on SoundCloud. I think they just made like one song, and they had like a song on SoundCloud and it just blew up. And that was how they got, because I think they got like called by the dude from Arctic Monkeys on like live air on radio. And like, because their song was going around, and I think they like hung up on him or something. I'd have to go, I can't remember, this is years ago now. And I just remember hearing something on the radio that they like called him and was like, hey, do you want to come play this show? And then like they hung up. Because they thought it was just like bullshit.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Wild. Yeah.
And Kane, have you managed to go to a festival yet? Have you lost your festival virginity?
Not properly, I always wanted to go to Big Day Out, but I was always too young.
Bro, Big Day Out was...
Yeah, and in terms of other festivals in New Zealand, I haven't really dabbled too much, unfortunately. Yeah.
I guess to be fair, in New Zealand, we don't have like... And apart from like electronic festivals, there's not much really. Yeah. Big Day Out was so cool. Like, I remember as soon as I turned 15, I like flew up every year. And I remember the first one was so funny. Like, we were so like new and just like we wanted to make the most of everything. We arrived at like 10 a.m. an hour and a half before gates opened, and both me and my mate, I don't think we drank a single drop of water or anything else or ate anything.
Dangerous.
We were like dying by the end of it, but it was so cool. Like, who was it the first thing? It was like Carnival. Didn't know who those guys were back then, but they were sick.
Yeah.
And then Mastodon, Fear Factory. I've got a few big regrets though. Like, I remember that same Big Day Out. It's always the way when you're young, and it just happens every festival. So that Big Day Out, Calvin Harris played when he was playing like live bass, like awkward guy. Didn't know who Calvin Harris was. Didn't see him. Arctic Monkeys were playing.
Damn.
Didn't know who they were.
Oh shit.
I knew who they were, but I was so metal focused back then.
Yeah. For sure.
I saw Rise Against instead of Dizzy Rascal, and that was like iconic. That Dizzy Rascal show. Rise Against was sick too.
Yeah, Rise Against would have been.
And then there was Groove Armada as well. Missed them. But you know, it was sick. It was still in Muse. That was like a big one. Like that was when I saw Muse and I got it. I was like, oh, okay.
That's so weird that you said that. I was a big hater on Muse, and I went and saw them live and left like incredible band.
It's
like
wild.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And now I've been a big Muse fan since, but I remember literally being like, I'm not going to see Muse, they suck, fuck this. Like, to all my friends, they all wanted to go, they took me, and I just had to eat my words like leaving. Just being like, they'd just been like, oh, did you have a good time? I was like,
yeah. I love that.
I love it, but it was so good.
I love that. Have you guys seen the Foo Fighters live?
No,
I have
really
actually. Yeah, I was very drunk though, looking back on it, and I wish I wasn't, because I don't think I appreciate it as much as I should have. Because it was like 11 o'clock at a festival. They headlined Reading, I don't remember it. I wish I did.
So
I'm kind of somewhat unashamedly like a massive Foo Fighters fan.
We love Foo Fighters.
You don't have to. Like, well, Mikey likes Foo Fighters, but the other guys in the band, they'll be fine. But
I remember, don't worry.
Yes. I remember we went to Zaget Festival, and it's a 7-day festival. Like, they were big artists, and all my mates, like most of them hadn't seen Foo Fighters, and Foo Fighters were playing on the last day, and I was like, they're going to be the best band of the whole festival. Prove me wrong. It was,
there's a few artists that like sometimes you go to and you don't know much.
That's the best day.
I love being surprised. It's like the best thing ever. Going there and then leaving and being like, I'm going to go home and listen to everything they've ever done.
For me, it was Tame Impala.
Tame Impala? Yeah.
I actually didn't actually hear them that much before I went and saw them. I got dragged along and I was like, the production on this is insane.
Insane, eh? It's
insane.
I totally, that's a good shout actually. And it's the closest I feel like it's the closest you'll ever get to seeing a sort of late 60s, 70s sort of style.
I agree.
Psychedelic sort of rock band, yeah.
Oh. And another one, 21 Pilots. They blew me away.
Oh, dude, I'm so sad I didn't go to that show.
I
love 21 Pilots.
One of the best performances I've ever seen was from those two boys.
Yeah.
They were doing magic tricks. They were on Zorbs. I've never seen a drummer crowd surf and play drums at the same time.
That's crazy.
That's the best idea I've ever heard.
Yeah.
They chuck a second drum set on planks and the crowd holds it. It was amazing. I was blown away. I've seen them twice.
Yeah.
Damn. I want to see them.
Yeah, amazing.
I do miss festivals though. Like festival season in the UK is like the best thing ever. Or just festival season around Europe. Yeah. It's just incredible. Like you go every single summer. As soon as summer hits, it's just straight to festivals. Like you do 2 or 3. Like for the whole summer, and that's like your whole summer.
If you could only pick one festival to go to in the UK, what would it be?
One to go to? Probably Reading, just because it's so diverse. You can see like Post Malone one day, and then I think literally one year like the headliner was like Eminem, and then Arctic Monkeys, and then Metallica. So like they were the 3 headliners.
Yeah,
so like, and every day was like a different day. So if you went for the whole weekend, you could literally do anything, and they'd like chop and change the stages. So like the main stage would be rap, the other stage would be like alternative, and then it would be like just incredible artists like all over it.
Yeah,
so
like that's the way.
Yeah, hell yeah! Like having that variety just makes your day so much better. Because like metal, like obviously we all love metal, but like when you listen to the same thing like for the whole day, you're a bit like, okay, well, yeah, this is
variety.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go see a pop artist for an hour, or go see like a rapper for like 30 minutes, and then go back to listening to. Like,
exactly.
That's what my playlists are like. And my playlists don't go like the whole time. It's literally just like chopping and changing all over the place. So I love it when festivals and lineups are like that in real life.
It's true. It's all based on vibe, which sounds, vibe's such a dumb word, but like now that we've been doing these like essentials playlists, I've been a bit more rock heavy music focused, but there was a period for me where the only time I'd listen to heavy music was at the gym. And it's so cool to just move on to the next one, like, and dabble here and there. Speaking of like magic tricks and stuff, I noticed you've been doing some stick flips and things like that recently. Is that like have you always been doing that, or has it been like a conscious decision?
It's something I started in high school after watching Luke Holland.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I saw Luke Holland, I was like, oh, okay, stick tricks are cool. I've told it's a little bit lame sometimes, but if I'm feeling it, I feel it.
Yeah, man. 100%.
We've also amped you up because we love it. So every time he does it, we're like, do more.
Yeah.
Lee loves it.
I love it.
If I'm feeling it, and I'm kind of in a weird state where I'm not really thinking about the music and just enjoying it, I will do it.
Yeah.
But if I'm focusing and things are going wrong, I'm holding on to those things for dear life.
You can make it cool.
Yeah. You will make mistakes, but it's part of the risk.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big stick trick advocate. There have been times when we've talked about doing changeover switch ups between Carl and I at times. And
hell yeah.
Early on, I was going way too hard and trying to do the stick flips at major detriment to like the quality of the performance. And that was a learning experience. Yeah. But my mantra is always like, you need to give people an excuse to look at you.
Yeah.
And it's not an arrogant thing. It's more like everyone puts in the time and the yards. So you want to get equal like attention when you get it.
I mean, everyone does it in the band. I mean, like people do bass flips, singers rotate their mics around. Like it's all showmanship. Yeah.
We're all musicians, and like getting up in front of people, there's a little bit of narcissism for all of us.
Oh,
like, we all want to be seen a little bit. Like, so
exactly.
It's only right that you share it out as well. I've never understood people like when you're like the front man, like the front man, and like everyone else is like a backing. That makes no sense to me. You're a band, like everyone should be shining. Like that's why I've always thought about it anyway. So that's why when Kane's doing stick flips, I'm like, dude, just do stick flips.
Yeah, man, don't stop. Have you had any like horror stories of dropping them and not being able to recover or anything like that?
In my early days, yes. When I used to be in a cover band with Christian back in the day, we used to do a lot of covers, and I used to do. That's where I kind of tried it a lot more because the songs were a lot easier. And I remember doing the Black Parade. We were starting with the Black Parade, and it starts off with that drum fill before it goes into the song. I tried something stupid and it completely fucked up the whole song, and everyone had and it's quiet. The whole song is quiet, and it starts off with this drum fill, and the whole crowd was like, ah! And ever since then, I was like, if I'm spinning sticks again, I'm not dropping this.
Yeah.
So you make one mistake, and then people will always remember it. So
yeah, man,
definitely.
I remember there've been a few times like doing music videos over the years where I've been told off for doing too many stick flips, or they're like, if you do a stick flip, you do not drop it because you'll ruin the entire take. And then like when you've got the pressure, you start thinking about it, and as soon as, because it's like an automatic thing, like as soon as you know, it's like breathing. Like as soon as you think about it, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about the movement sort of thing that you guys have been like. I remember you were talking about it on another podcast. I'm real curious.
On Scott's podcast. So it's all from a guy called Steve Cannatelli. We call him the coach. He does it with a bunch of bands in Australia, and it's more what's it? Well, I can't remember the exact word of it right now.
The term? It's the axis of movement.
Axis of movement. Yes. That's it. It's more just to keep you moving the whole time, because I think he just noticed with us, or he just noticed with other bands as well. So he came along on the Banks Arcade tour and then watched us, and was literally just like, we just went to him and was just like, hey, what do you think is the honest review of our performance? And he was like, it's average. Like, if we're being honest, he was straight up with us. He was like, it's average. It was like, musically, you're perfectly fine. You're just a bit plain and just, you're not doing anything. So he has this thing where he just does the axis of movement, where it's literally just like you're basically just moving on beat to everything. So we changed everything to on beat. So everything's and then you're just constantly moving, and we lead like it's a dance. So me and Christian will lead in and out, and then wherever we move to and a space opens up, the guitarist will fill those spaces. So there's always like a front line, so that you're always constantly moving. And then because we're always on the beat, we're always headbanging together, always moving together. And that way we don't have to be choreographed to be like, you should be here, you should be there. It's literally just like, we can go wherever we want.
Nothing's rehearsed. It's not like...
You just got to have that good peripheral vision to know that when you're moving, not to get smacked in the face by the fucking guitar.
They've got little signals for each other and stuff if they're moving.
Tap on the butt.
It's a tap on the butt. I can see it all, and every time Christian's moving, he gives a little tap on the butt, and then they know, oh, we're crossing here, crossing there. It's actually pretty cool to watch. Yeah,
that's nice.
There we go. So it's not just an infection that you guys have.
We don't just like each other's asses.
No, he worked us pretty hard to get to that point as well, but it was well worth it.
We spent like 3 hours in a hotel room in Sydney just sweating, literally running our set over and over and over again, whilst he was just literally like move, and then
that's so cool that he was willing to do that though.
Awesome.
He's incredible. Like he's genuinely incredible. Like, he does that. Like he comes along and he tour manages as well, and he's just the nicest guy too.
Boss on the merch as well.
Yeah, boss on the merch, and he just does everything, and he's just such a good like dude to have around, and he's just so upfront and honest with you without being a dick. Like if that makes like
I was going to say like honest feedback.
It's hard to find,
and like for a lot of people they'd be like, oh my gosh, like how could you say that? But that feedback is probably up there with some of the best feedback you've had, and you're constantly searching for the honest feedback, because you're always looking for how can we improve this? What's the next step? And like for every 5 people that say, oh, it's amazing, like what can you take away from that? Like
you get nothing. Like, and especially if you in your head have that like aching feeling that it wasn't that good. Like, and you're like, okay, we're tight, but like, is it a good performance? Like, are people having fun? That's how we felt. We felt like people were coming and they were just standing there, and we were like, well, this can't be a good show if people were coming, but they're just like crossed arm, just like, okay, just like bobbing their head. Like,
I'm sure it was a great show. So.
But like, it just kind of felt like it wasn't. It was like, well, what can we do to do it? And we wanted honest feedback from someone, and no one was giving it to us. We would ask people, and they were like, oh, you guys are great. And it's like, okay, cool. And then eventually Steve came along and was just like, yeah, it was really average. Like, and we were just like, okay, that's what we were looking for. We thought it was average. Thank you for like finally admitting to us that it was like an average show. And like it could be way better. And then he ran through us like with a bunch of stuff, and it's helped us a ton. We think it's made a crazy difference. Like
stage presence 100%. Is so important.
I feel like the crowd mimics what you're doing. Like if you're giving energy, they give energy. So so
I think that's the best way to put it. Like if you're moving, if you're giving it your all, people are so much more likely because it's like if the band on stage are going so hard, especially in the intimate settings, as an audience member, you'll feel bad for not getting into it. It's like it's all reciprocal. Yeah, not saying that positive feedback is also great.
Yeah, positive feedback's great. Yeah,
and like it's not easy. Like you guys to do the stuff that you guys are playing and move. It's sometimes easier said than done.
Oh hell yeah! It's a testament to Jake more than anything because he's playing some crazy shit, and I don't know how he moves like that, but
we have a signal for it.
We do have a signal.
Left cheek or right cheek?
Yeah.
No, we just know the parts where if he needs to focus, he needs to focus.
Yeah.
We won't cross him.
We don't move him if we know that he needs to be still. So we have a signal to know that he's doing something, and just like leave me alone. Don't come to this side of the stage.
I reckon what you guys should do is start like lifting him up, and he'll just focus, and he'll be moving.
Which is made for a little couple of awkward moments. Like even last night, I noticed it where you're all moving along, and then you see the signal, but it's too late, and you've already moved, and you're like, okay, I have to go back. So like you get a moment where you like get there and you go, oh fuck, and then you like sort of like awkwardly scuttle back to where you were. So little things here and there. Like obviously it was a smaller stage last night, so it's harder.
Exactly.
So hopefully we can play some bigger stages down the line, and it makes it a lot easier.
I'm sure it sounds like there's going to be much bigger stages to come.
Scary stages.
Yeah,
I've seen you guys play before though. You guys' stage presence is insane as well. What do you guys? What's your kind of mantra or your go-tos for stage presence?
I think
because your show's like a show.
A show.
I think that's the thing. Thank you. Like I think that is a big thing with us. Is like, we've always like had the mantra of we want it to feel like an event, and we've always always from day one. We've always invested as much as we can into so whether that's extending the stage, putting out a cab walk or some sort of like random pyro thing or something. Just like, especially when you're in a small, when you're in somewhere like Auckland, and New Zealand's an isolated country, there's only so many places you can play. You're inevitably going to be playing in front of a similar crowd, and you got to give people a reason to want to come back.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know, it's like, I think we have this thing between all of us as well, where it's like this kind of healthy competition thing, especially like between Carl and I. It's we egg each other on in a way. Like one of us will see someone doing something, and they're like, "Oh man, like I need to up my game." It's a back and forth. My thing as well. I've gone to so many shows over the years. I've always been just a massive student of music. That sounds so lame, but
no, we love it.
It's true though.
I've gone to I guess because I grew up in Dunedin, and in Dunedin, there's very few shows, and so when I went to Auckland, I felt like I had almost like a responsibility to go to as many shows as I could, because I'd realised how privileged it is to be in a place where shows happen, and so I've just got to see so many bands, and I just had, me personally, I can't speak for the others, but I had this moment where I was like, okay, what are the shows that I remember the most? Why is it? And it was often ones that was shit just going crazy and like, whoa, I can't believe that guy did this. Seeing people like Greg Pusciato from Dillinger Escape Plan climbing up shit. And like, I remember I saw Airborne play at Big Day Out, and he climbed up the railing, and you
guys get it from.
Jason from Fever. That's me. And like
we saw it at the Tuning Fork show.
We're like, holy shit.
And I'm just like always looking for something to climb. It's been 50-50. I've had a few injuries.
I was about to say, has anything gone wrong before?
Oh yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Luckily, like I've never had to like stop playing a show.
Okay.
But there was one moment that was close, and we're basically either dedicating an entire podcast episode to it or something similar, because it was my biggest injury is pretty bad. Like I genuinely thought that I was never going to look the same after
damn.
it. Yeah.
Holy shit.
It was bad.
Sounds like a facial.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
Yeah, there was some face involved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, damn,
but yeah, I don't know. It's yeah,
well, you're still very pretty.
Yeah,
mate,
it's still very beautiful.
As are you guys.
Joe, still before we move off the show thing though, because when we were talking about when we thought we were average, it was because of specific things. When we were saying about you going wanting to be like a student of music and going to shows, we actually came and saw you guys, and it was Banks Arcade and Gloom in the Corner and other bands that were doing like stuff around the scene.
Yeah.
And realized what your guys' show was like. And then like going back and looking at ours and being like, oh yeah, ours is not that. And then that was like a big thing for us where we were literally just like,
Y'all pushed us.
Yeah, we need to like, we definitely have to be better.
It has to be said though, like the other reason why we do so much is because our music is so much more basic than your guys' stuff. Pretty much every song of ours, the vast majority are 4/4. It's never that complex. So we also have that. So
still, I'd love a 4/4 song.
Bro, it's so funny.
I bet you would.
No tempo changes
no
as well.
Tempo change,
like,
no 7/8.
I can relate. I remember my last band before Wolves was a metalcore band, and is it the same for you? Like, are your drum parts? Do they tend to get sort of like semi pre-written by Jake?
It has been in the past. Recently, it's been a bit more like, here's a song, here's some bass drums, change the entire drums, and I just MIDI it out. But in the past, it was like that. So I'm guessing you end up with Frankenstein drums. Yeah. And you have to try to figure out how to play it in real life.
Yeah. And like the big thing, I mean, like it was like a blessing and a curse in that like he would make me do stuff that I would never think that I could do. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to do it. And it like pushes you. Yeah. But then at the same time, I just remember there were so many times where I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, like, and just so focused. And I was just like, oh my God, next band, it's got to be the most basic, not written by wolves, but I was just like, I need something real straightforward.
Yeah, definitely early days were like that. There was a lot of counting to 7. And then, now it's become a bit more second nature now, which is good. And I guess writing your own MIDI drums, it really comes in handy in that song production part. But back in the day, it was rough.
Because you guys are a little bit heavier now as well, eh?
Definitely.
Like with a few newer songs. Because you had a couple screams and like some old songs and stuff, but it's very minimalist, like a lot heavier.
Yeah, it's a variety. Like I think, like I guess a good way. It always sounds so like self-indulgent, like describing how we do stuff. But like, I think a big thing with us is it's like when we'll start doing a song, and Davey is definitely our driving force when it comes to writing stuff. We'll often decide on a vibe and then write something based on the vibe. Right. And I think the thing with us is like, okay, if the song is going to be a hard-hitting song or heavy song, then we're going to like go in. And then vice versa. Like we have a few songs, depending on when this comes out, which are a bit softer.
Okay, let's go.
I wouldn't say it's like acoustic, but like we got a song that's like quite like Weekend inspired.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah! I love The Weeknd.
It's probably one of my favorite songs. Alter is what it's called.
Fuck yeah!
Keep an eye out.
And then we got another one which is like, it sounds like a hip hop song.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go.
But we also then have another one. We have a song that's heavier than everything we've released so far, which is coming, which is real cool.
That's the type of album I want to listen to.
That's the trend now, though. Yeah. Like with all the bands, like especially, good example, Sleep Token.
Yeah,
what genre is that whole album?
There isn't one.
Exactly, and metal, that's what keeps people fresh.
It's a metal vibe, but everything is just kind of.
They've got R&B, rap, everything. I think that the whole kind of range, if you're able to do that, do it, because that's going to captivate a lot more people.
Yeah,
100%. It's which
makes me very excited for your guys' album.
Yeah, hell yeah.
As am I for you guys and your stuff as well. I definitely have to give credit to Davey for a lot of it, and we're so lucky as well. Like Davey's brother Jimos, who goes under Gladius, produces all our stuff. He's a genius as well. Like I think that's the thing that's so cool is we'll come up with a track and he'll just add a little bit here and there, and it just brings it up. I can't wait to be able to play it live.
That's how we feel. We've got 2 songs that we're just kind of waiting to play live.
Yeah,
but we have to wait till they go out and then get the backing tracks and everything. So it's just kind of like, oh damn, we want to do it now. Like we're there's like 2 songs we immediately know we want to drop from this set and just slide those in. We've got to wait.
Have you guys been able, like, have you gotten to a point now where you're having to cut out songs you don't want to cut out?
Have we?
Not yet. We're close.
I think this will be the first. We were talking about it the other day. I think when we add these 2 new songs, this will be the first time we'll ever have a set that we all genuinely love. And there's not been songs in there that have kind of been filler songs that we had to like fill out the set. So once we get these 2 new ones in there, I think that'll be the first time we've ever got like a solid 7 songs that we'll play like 35 minutes that we just love.
That's
which would be
the
dope.
best. We've gotten to a point like, I wouldn't say we're having arguments, but like it's so hard trying to like figure out what songs to play, and then you have, well, we haven't played this song for ages. I love playing this song, it's fun.
Yeah.
But then we could never not play Elastic Heart. We could never really not play Genius.
Yeah.
As much as I would be more than happy.
I'd love that song, so I'd actually be sad if I went to one of your shows and you didn't play it.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
There's
and
songs that fit with bands.
Yeah.
And you have to keep them.
Yeah.
100%. The beauty as well, like there's always more you can do and things you can add and stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of you guys' live show and like Christian and things, like I'd love to know, like, how did you guys come to basically deciding to have 2 vocalists?
Yeah, that's a you thing.
Yeah, I think it actually ended up coming down to me. So we did it was just kind of when we were first getting together. It was like me, Jake, and we were messing about with things. And he was just kind of, Jake would just write a lot of parts that felt like singing would go to. And he was just like, kept asking, can you sing? I was like, I can't sing. Like, it's just going to sound horrible. Like, we're just not going to be a good band if you just like have me singing on these things. So I just pushed to have like a second singer. Well, yeah, another vocalist. So we originally had a guy called Jason, but then he left. And then these guys were in Kindred Vice, and then they broke up. So we just like sort of formed we just sort of shoved those 2 bands together. And then that's how we got Kane as well, because he was in that band and we needed a drummer. So so that was how we ended up with that like dual dynamic. I don't think back then Christian could scream either, so he only sang because they were a pop punk band, and then obviously I couldn't sing and I only screamed, so it was like perfect. And now it's really weird because now we both want to do the opposite thing. He wants to scream,
cool.
I want to sing, and we're both learning how to do the other one, so it's kind of wild.
Shows growth.
So it's been cool.
It is actually like so awesome, like, and you guys complement each other so well. Holy shit, Christian can sing. Like, what
Don't
the
tell
hell?
him that.
Yeah, don't gas him up too much.
And as you can scream as well. Tell me about like the story and like how you found out that you could scream.
Oh yeah, the dude at the festival. I really need to find this guy. I would love to. It was at Reading Festival. I remember it so vividly. It's watching Bring Me the Horizon in like 2009. I remember exactly like the exact show it was, and I was screaming along to. I don't even know if it was September. I don't know the song. Yeah, but I'm just screaming along to a Bring Me the Horizon song. And just some drunk dude just kind of walks past me and just sort of like stops and looks at me. He's like, "You're good at that." And I was just like, "Thank you, mate." And he was like, "No worries." And then just carried and just fucked off into the rest of the night. And it just kept circulating in my head, and I was just like, maybe I should try out for like a band or something. And then I just kept saying it to my missus, and she was like, "Shut up talking about it and just do it." So we moved in and I just went for it.
It's like, I think it has to be said, like those small bits of validation are so important, especially when it comes to screaming in ways, because it's like, I never want to say that it's like more vulnerable than singing, because I would probably pick screaming over singing. Right. But like, it's so loud and intense. There's no way you can like scream softly.
No.
You are really putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And to like have someone like tell you, like, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah,
like,
it was crazy. Especially I had like no musical background whatsoever. I just liked music.
Crooked is his first band.
Crooked is my first band ever. Yeah.
Wow.
Never done anything. I can't play an instrument. I can't do anything. I've had to learn how to keep time and everything in this band. Yeah.
You know,
it's always the vocalist.
It's taken him nearly three years to realize, I should actually follow the drums, not guitar. And once that clicked, he's like, this makes sense.
This is really easy.
He like came up to me after, it's out of nowhere. He's like, I followed you this time, and it was actually way easier to keep in time. And I'm like, okay.
It only took 5 years. Well, it's like 3 years when that happened. But it only took me 3 years to realize that that's what you're supposed to do.
Oh, that is amazing.
I'm so honestly surprised looking back that I was kept around for so long. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know how I was still in this band like from the beginning. So do you
get click in your ears?
No, I can't deal with a click. I literally can't use a click. It fucks me up. Like, there's just so much to like listen to that I'm literally just like, I just need the most basic thing I can follow. So it's literally just, I want the drums the loudest, the guitar down a little bit, and then Christian's voice, just so I know when like segues are coming in for like me. Nice. That's literally the only thing I like to have.
Oh, sweet. So you get the monitor mix and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Still got like everything coming through. And then the backing tracks like a little bit.
Yeah. I reckon, have any of you guys got like custom molded in ears? Yeah.
Jake does.
Yeah.
They're unreal.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was periods, like, I'm a real audio person, and Carl had them a while before us, and like, Carl was like, bro, they're fucking awesome. But Carl thinks everything's awesome. Nothing against Carl, but he knows this. We went to the place to try them out, and it's next level.
Life-changing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's expensive, though, and it's very overwhelming because I won't go too much into it, but, like, basically, like, you would think, because there's so many different models, you'd think, like, the cheapest model is the worst, the most expensive is the best, but it's not. Like, they all have their own sort of specific requirement. They fit niches in different areas.
Right.
But yeah, they're next level.
I think it's the next thing I will do. I just haven't got around to it. I really should. I just bought new innies yesterday because they blew out just before the show.
Oh,
so I went and bought these yesterday.
Yeah, we both run the Shore 215.
The Shores are mean. They're great as well. I use Shores for ages, and they're like, and for a lot of people, some people, like, I think, like, for some people kind of prefer them because it's a bit nicer. You can, like, have that kind of, like, partial in, partial out type thing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And in terms of, I guess, going into, like, vocals and drums as well, who were you guys sort of, like, main influences kind of growing up?
All growing up. The biggest one would be Chester for me from Linkin Park. Like, I think that's like any 90s kid's, like, fucking one, like, straight off the bat. I'm trying to think of for actual screaming. Straight off the bat, it was like Ollie Sykes, but then you realise that back then he wasn't a good screamer. Like, he was actually a really bad screamer.
Yeah, he was unique though.
He was unique. I think that was what made him, like, stand out. But it wasn't that he was a bad screamer as in, like, sound. He just didn't scream right. So, like, trying to imitate him was actually, like, a bad idea.
Yeah,
he was blowing out his voice. That's why.
Which is what I was doing when I started. I just kept blowing out my voice because I was literally just trying to, like, yell as loud as you can, so it sounds, like, really weird and unique.
All throat.
Yeah, all throat. Yeah. Trying to think who. And then it was Sam Carter, and then you kind of realize real fast that's like the upper echelon of, like, screaming.
Yeah, it's so true. Sam Carter's, like, that guy's next level. Actually,
it's god tier as fuck because it's more the melodic screaming.
Exactly,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I don't know how I feel about the sound of it, but yeah, like Winston as well. I remember I was watching. Yes. There was that clip of Winston from Parkway and Architects, and it was like, whoa, like Winston can really do some cool stuff. Like, you know, it's an acquired taste, but yeah. Who's been the big people, like, for you on drums?
For me, it was definitely Chris Adler from Lamb of God.
Oh, no way, same.
I have a snare.
So do I.
Oh, there we go.
Do you have, like, the wooden one
the
with
the warbird with the
oh my God,
little eagle on it?
Yeah,
and stuff?
bro.
Well, snare buddies. Gosh. Yeah. No, I love that
crazy.
snare. I love that snare. That he was till today. I take a lot of inspiration from him. Joey from Slipknot, obviously, and then after that, a close third would be the Rev from A7X.
Yeah, nice.
All just really dynamic, double kick, but groovy, not really super, like, death metal-y, but
yeah,
I just like the way that they can showcase their skill, but also enhance and complement the song without overplaying.
100%. Yeah, it's like, I remember I saw Dave Grohl had a good way of describing, like, an iconic drummer as, like, a drummer that you can hear a song and tell who the drummer is, and all three of those drummers are examples of that.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you like that snare drum was so hard to get back then as well.
You can't get them anymore. I looked online and I bought it from Rock Shop a long time ago.
Oh, no way.
And they said, oh yeah, we hardly get any of them. And now I checked a couple of weeks ago if they still sell them. Couldn't find them anywhere.
Yeah, I think he's got, like, a new type, which is, like, I don't know, not quite the same. Like, you got the 12-inch.
Yeah, the tiny as one. The tiny as one. Yeah. Yeah, he's not in Lamb of God anymore, so... Yeah,
that was hard. Like, I remember I basically stopped listening to them when that happened.
Same.
And then I heard their new album, and the new album's really good.
Yeah.
But it's funny, I played at the Auckland Town Hall, and I used the Chris Adler snare drum, and the guy working there was like, that is the best snare drum I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah!
That's good.
Funny story as well. I remember I somehow met... I got to meet all the guys in Lamb of God.
What the heck?
When they came for their Power Station show.
Oh, yeah, Slipknot. It was Slipknot, Lamb of God, and Tag AD?
Yeah.
That was at Spark Arena.
Yeah, I think it was before then. I think it was like 2013 or something. It was the one before then.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I brought my snare drum, and Chris was like, "What the hell? Where did you get that?" And, like, he signed the inside of it and stuff. So
I would have died.
I went vegetarian purely because of, well, not purely because of Chris Adler, but it was a big reason. And, like, Oh yeah, that's crazy. So I joined Wolves for a wee bit as the drummer.
Oh yeah,
and the first thing that they said was, "Do you have another snare drum?" And I was like, "What?"
A lot of people don't like the sound of it, but I like the patang of it.
Yeah, exactly. It cuts through everything,
Yeah.
which is potentially the problem.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
oh no way, that is so crazy.
I do have a second one now that I love almost as equally, and it's a Tama Starphonic.
Oh yeah, nice.
And it's a lot of a bigger snare drum, but it still has that same sound and tone to it. It's just a lot more deeper. And my whole goal in finding a snare drum was to find something as similar to that Lamb of God one as I could find, but maybe just a little bit more depth. So a lot more people will be like, "Hey, don't use that." You know?
Yeah.
I found a lot of soundies or even recorders. They either liked it a lot or they said, "Oh, can you tune it down? Can you do this? Can you do that?" So
you can't really play it quietly either. Or it's quite hard to ghost note as well. That one I've noticed.
Yeah,
but it makes you good at it. But oh, I can't believe that. That's so funny. Yeah, I'd love to get like the sort of like Nick from Dealskin's got it, where you have like the one normal one and then you have the sort of side snare.
Yeah, that would be cool too. Yeah, definitely.
Well, sorry, Lee. I'll
there you go.
I'll say.
Sorry, I just went into drum mode.
Nah.
I like it.
Another thing that I'm interested about is I feel like it must, like, your songwriting process must be quite interesting in that having two vocalists and stuff. And I heard you mention that often they'll change a wee bit. Like, what song has changed the most from when it was first conceived to when it, like, to the final product?
To the final product, I'm trying to think of. We had one song, and it's eluding me what it is now, where it was literally something completely different. Like, the whole song is now something completely something else.
Wasn't it Counter?
No, Counter was, but that was ended up because it just ended up being a heavy song. We were trying to force, we were trying to force like a chorus into Counterfeit, and it didn't work. Glass Hands is a good one because we just didn't really. Me and Christian weren't really like lining up on like what we wanted the song to be about, and then it kind of ended up being about two different things, and then we had to remold it back together to be like, okay, like, let's make this make sense, because we were right. We had the idea, but we wrote it from two different perspectives, so it made fuck all sense.
That's kind of cool.
So it was really weird. So it is kind of odd writing songs with two vocalists like that, because you obviously want to write your own parts, and we rarely write each other's own stuff. We will go back and rewrite once we have the melodies, and we'll change little lyrics here and there, but we don't actually write whole parts for each other. So,
right. So like, would one of you sort of have a whole song and then present it and then they take their parts, or would you build on it separately almost?
Yeah, we'll build on it separately almost. Like, we'll get given a whole song and we'll go through it, and we'll kind of just sort of see if we come up with the same idea. So we'll listen to the whole song and we'll kind of picture where we think we are. Yeah. Where I'm going to slot in the song. Yeah. I'm here, and here. And I'll give that to Christian and see if he agrees that that's where I should be, and if that's where he thinks he should be. And if they don't line up, then we change it and we go around. But I'd say 90% of the time we're like, okay, that's perfect. That's exactly where we both thought we should be. Now we'll do these parts. We'll go away, we'll write the parts each, we'll come back, we'll listen to it, make sure it fits lyrically. Yeah. And then if not, we'll change lyrics, and then we just sort of like roll from there. You guys have gotten better at that too, because but back in the day it was like chorus, verse. Yeah. And now you guys go back and forth quite well now. Like our whole new song, our whole new thing is to literally have, because we've done a lot of like Lee verse, Christian chorus. So now it's literally back and forth the whole time. So all of our new stuff is just back and forth. Cool. Which is dope, because it's just better. Yeah. That's so interesting. Does it tend to be Jake will come with a song structure or something, then you guys go from there, or like? Pretty much. He comes with like a full song. Yeah. But now we've tried to change it a little bit. Now we're going from a part, because we're working with a new producer. So we're going from like, Jake will just come with a bunch of ideas now, and we'll just find the best vibe and literally just try and write a whole song to that, instead of Jake, because otherwise we end up with, Jake hates it, but like a riff salad. And then we just kind of have to like try that, because that's kind of what our last album was. It was a bunch of songs that we were happy with, and they were kind of a bit more riffy than they should have been, and we tried to make songs out of them. And this time around we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to make the song first and then add in like all the technical parts later. So we're kind of simplifying like what we do, and then adding technical parts in for where Jake will be, so that they're moments and not the whole song. The whole song is a technical song and we just slap vocals over it.
Yeah, right.
Which is kind of what some of our songs, to me personally, feels like sometimes, that we've just slapped vocals where they would fit and force the song where a song could be made like out of it.
How's it been? Like, has it been tricky or sort of like?
It was to start out, but it's just a learning process because it's something we all want. It's not like something like someone has tried to like force upon everyone.
Exactly.
Like, it's something we all want to do. So it's more just like been a learning thing together. Like, okay, how do we achieve this? How do we make technical music digestible? Kind of. That's kind of what we're trying to do. Like, how do we make what we do digestible so that we're not going to be stuck in this very niche part where not that many people. Well, it's going to be like harder to climb the ladder for people to listen to us and actually play shows and things like that. Because with that stuff, it's a slow build.
Yeah. I think we're a lot happier with the balance that we have as well. I think it keeps everyone happy and it shows progression as well.
Yeah, and just adding a lot more styles as well. So we're doing like a lot more rapping and a lot more singing, and a lot more. Obviously, the screaming and stuff will still be there. We'll still have all the technical parts and things like that. And just we're just more formulaic a little bit now. So
we'll always have the technical parts. It's never going to go away.
Yeah, the technical parts.
It's
what you guys are known for. Yeah. But yeah, it's true. It's like if you bring them in, it makes them stand out so much more. It's like, you know, I think of like my old bands. Like we just basically became a breakdown band, and it might be a whole song of heavy breakdowns, but it just sounds the same.
Like too much of a good thing, too much sugar. In a way.
Yeah. Exactly.
So trying to make it like the live show. Like the live show is like a moment. So like we're doing it like it's a live show. So like this should hit here.
Right for live.
Yeah. This moment should happen here so that people are like, oh shit, like wow.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, okay, that happened 2 minutes before, but this is an alternate version of what just happened.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like not blown away by the second time it happens. So yeah.
Speaking of rap, have you listened to the Travis Scott album?
I haven't actually. I probably should though. I've heard a lot of good things.
I dived into Lil Uzi's, but that's about it.
Yeah, Lil Uzi's.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
weird.
Very interesting.
It just felt a little bit all over. To be honest, like I don't rate myself as an authority on that type of rap. To be fair,
yeah.
The one with the Bring Me the Horizon one was all right.
Yeah.
Is the Travis Scott album really good?
Yeah, it's good. I personally prefer Astro World, but you know, that was an amazing album.
Yeah, incredible album. Yeah. So it's kind of
it's a bit more like mature, but it's still pretty sick.
Oh yeah.
I like I'd like a little bit more high energy stuff.
Yeah,
but it's still pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, what's it been like working with George?
Yeah, different, very different.
We have to get super critical. We try to at least make sure our product is the best. Jake and I had to get good drums.
Right.
So back in the day, we didn't have any good kind of drum plugins or anything like that. So we wanted to step up our demo game and just ensure that the quality that we're sending to George is the highest that we can get to him, so he can actually work with us and kind of pick it apart and do what he needs to do from there. So
nice.
It just made us more critical on our own work as well.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of been like kind of like what Steve was with like our live show. He's just been a very honest voice of just, this isn't good enough, or like, it's not this isn't good enough, this could be better, like you could do X, Y and Z. And it's more of like we're not giving him something and he's going, yeah, this is great, like you should record this and you should do it. He's listening to it and being like, this could be like 3 different songs, for example. And we're working with a guy called Liam as well. He's in a band called Pridelands. He works really close with George, so George like trusts him with like his opinion as well. So it goes through Liam and then to George, and then they sort of like evaluate it and then come back with their thoughts. And it's like very validating when you get to the end and they're like, okay, we've gone for it, because I think we ended up scrapping like 4 songs already. So they've just good enough. They just weren't good enough, like straight up. And literally listening back, those 4 songs could have been on our last album. So it's kind of crazy when we're going through that and they're like, these aren't good enough. So it means like pretty much everything on our last album wasn't good enough for like the product that we're trying to make now. So which has been a wild thing to try and go through, because you're like, okay, fuck you, we actually have to be better musicians, like, well, not better musicians, better songwriters, which is so much harder.
And there's a wealth of knowledge too. I remember that first conversation that we had with him. I wanted to whip out a notepad, because the things he was saying in that first, I think it was like a 45-minute conversation we had with him, and it wasn't just about songwriting, it was about identity and what
Wow.
we kind of see ourselves in music and stuff. And the things he was talking about was just so like nuggets of wisdom all over the place.
Creating and hearing a story and like just things like that, where he's like, I just don't hear a story in this. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he's like,
Wow.
yeah, so it's just things like that. So
things we never thought of.
Makes so much sense, because my favorite songs in the world are immediately where I'm like, oh, I connect to this because I fully understand the story and you've put me in a world. Like, it doesn't even have to be a crazy world. It can literally just be inside someone's mind where they're having a breakdown, or they're having like a bad day, or like an anxiety attack or whatever, or like all the way up to, I don't know, just some crazy like fucking Periphery where they write about some like wild stuff of like the machines killing people and stuff, like just stuff that draws you in and like makes a story. So it's just been like trying to get to that point where things make sense in like a fluid manner, and you're actually saying something of like something, I can't think of the word now, I'm having a mind blank, just saying something that's actually like decent, instead of just putting something on a page just for the sake of it and using buzzwords that are literally just like, oh, this is what should go because this is what people would like to sing along to.
It's not only lyrics, that's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's everything. But yeah, so like the lyrics would literally just have to go with the vibe though, obviously. So we have to create the vibe first and then just sort of like roll through with it. So it's just been trying to like create like it's almost like trying to, as if we were picturing a music video before we have the song like completed. So you've got the idea of everything that's happening, and then you're writing to as if there was like a music video already there. Yeah. Which is 100%. Really difficult to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a lot easier said than done, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it too early to say when we could potentially expect some new music? Or?
We would love to put something out ASAP. So our hopeful plan is to get 2 singles out and then maybe do an EP, because I don't think we want to do another album right now, because we want to just sort of really focus on our songwriting and then put it out and see how people are feeling about our new way of songwriting. And just like, it's not going to be that much of a crazy new vibe, but because the technical stuff will still be there and we're still going to be heavy, and but it's just putting it out into the world and just seeing how people feel about it. So we don't want to create an album worth of that and then people go, okay, we don't actually really like this that much, or whatever. We don't feel like that's going to be the case, because we're actually really stoked with this new stuff. But it's always nice to feel it out a little bit.
Yeah. And when is the tour with Periphery?
January.
Yeah,
it's mid-Jan to the first week of February.
First week of Feb. Yeah.
But we'll probably go a couple of days early. I think I'm going to take these boys around London for a couple of days.
Yeah, that's so exciting. That's so cool. And how many shows?
It's 17, I think.
17.
It's either 17 or 13. I can't remember, because there's so many days off in between. There's like the travel days and then a couple of days off in between.
So close to 3 weeks, is it?
Yeah, I think it's more
17 shows in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it might be more 17 days and 13 shows, and then it's like a break in between all of them.
There will be breaks. But
My goodness, that's a tour though. That's a big
trial by fire.
And the 100%. Most we've ever done is 5 days in a row, so that's going to be...
Even 5 days, that's pretty...
Yeah, 5 days no breaks is pretty rough. Because at least this is like 2 days break, 3 days break, 2 days break. Like, so there's a break in between all of them. So yeah, like 5 days straight, it's pretty rough. But yeah.
Well, at least you've like been road tested.
Yes.
Yeah. It was actually what got us to the point of like where we are now, like realizing we wanted to get better and stuff. Because we road tested everything. Like, we did all of our stage presence and stuff was being road tested on those 5 days as well. So that was a rough, looking back, that was a rough 5 days actually.
Yeah. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, hell yeah. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was great.
It was playing in Australia for the first time as well. So not only did we not do it in New Zealand, we did it the first time ever playing overseas.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think, that's another thing as well that I've found as well. And I don't know if it's the same as you guys, but my big thing that I've always had with when playing live actually is I've always got to have, so each show I'll have a different thing to focus on that I need to improve. So like going back in the past, like a big thing for me was looking at the crowd more and like making eye contact with the crowd. And then like next one would be like singing more. Yeah. And like every show I'll have a different thing that I want to get better at, which helps for me anyway.
No, that makes complete sense. Mine's the eye contact one at the moment. I really don't like making eye contact with people in the crowd, like looking at it, because it feels like, especially when you're the screamer, it feels like you're trying to staunch people out, and it feels weird because that's not the intention of it. It's more just to like look confident and look out and connect with people.
Exactly.
And just say, but when you scream and you've got this like angry look on your face, you kind of just look like you're just trying to staunch people. It's just so weird. It's not the intention. So yeah, that's the weird one for me. But yeah, you're right. Doing little things here and there like makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And another thing that I've kind of started to do, and I'm really good at forgetting to give people forewarning because it's kind of a like tricky question. But one of the things that I've started sort of asking the podcast is asking people if there's anything that they would change about the music industry. And if so, what would that be?
You've got a few, don't you? We've talked about this in the past.
Yeah, but now that I'm put on the spot, I was trying to think of one the whole time. I'm really bad when I'm put on the spot.
Yeah, I know,
I definitely
it's hard.
know
like,
I have loads.
Honestly, like every time I ask people, I realize I'm like, what do I say? Like I was like having it, And if you can't think of something, it's not
in the most PC way as well.
Yeah, we don't even have to do the PC way, but I'm just trying to think of one. What are the ones we've talked about in the past? We've definitely spoken about this. There's definitely things I would change, but I'm just trying to think about it off the top of my head.
Obviously, there's what we find is a bit of there's definitely some genre bias in certain countries.
Oh, yeah. No, there is, yeah. I mean, I really can't think of it.
Yeah.
It is really interesting, like we just recently did a music video shoot recently in Melbourne. And it's really interesting just like talking with like the crew members and stuff, and like everyone knows everyone in the scene there, and it was crazy, like, which sounds weird.
It's really, like a community, right?
But it was like I didn't have to explain, like they'd be talking about like all these bands, and you didn't have to explain to anyone who they were because everyone just knew, and like it was crazy. It's like, oh wow, like this is like, oh, these are my people.
They get it.
Yeah, it's interesting. And obviously, like the whole tall poppy thing is a major thing in New Zealand. But I think, it's probably everywhere. Like, was the thing you noticed in the UK and stuff? I can imagine it's probably a thing over there as well.
It's very cutthroat over there, I think, because it's literally just, if you're not at the top, then I think you're just kind of, it's because it's, I don't know, I guess there's such a higher, I think they just have it as a higher standard there, more of like because they get so many bands that blow up there because so many people get behind it. When you're not blowing up, you're still at the bottom. So like for someone who's on like 50,000 monthly listeners, which is great, you'd probably be touring around like a bunch of places and playing to like 300 people. That wouldn't be that great there because you've got bands that have got like 1 million monthly listeners who are heavy bands and stuff as well, because there's so many people and so many people supporting it. So it's like a double-edged sword. It can bite you, or you can really get people behind you. But when you feel like people aren't getting behind you, you're kind of like, oh shit, like this isn't working. Whereas like the tall poppy thing, I never really understood, which is kind of crazy because I never understood that people don't get the trickle down effect that when the people at the top are doing the best, like especially like in metal where the super heavy people listen to, like you'll get people who listen to like Cannibal Corpse and things that, and like Thy Art Is Murder, and they're like, fuck, like the poppy side of metal, and you're like, no, you do realize that's bringing in all those people that slowly get into heavier and heavier music and eventually end up listening to Thy Art, right?
The metal elitists.
Yeah, and it's just like, how do you not understand that like that is good for everyone? And like it even works in the exact same way of like you guys, for example, you guys play massive shows and things like that, and then you're going to have us on for a show, for example.
Yeah,
that's massive for us. There's a whole crowd of people that have never seen us before and things like that. Like, so for say if we were sitting in the wings, literally just like, why the fuck are they popular and why aren't we popular? Like that's a crazy thing to do. You should just cheer on and like have people go out and support, because the more popular they get, the more popular you will eventually get by like association and just being like it all trickling down to everyone. So it's just kind of crazy to me that people see like there's room for everyone to eat. I don't understand why you need to be.
It's a competition thing, isn't it?
It is a competition thing, but there's always someone way further up the top anyway. So there doesn't need to be it this low, like this far down. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, it's not far down. Far down's the wrong thing. But there is like a ladder that you have to keep climbing. There's levels
to this, and we can all help each other out, or we can keep pulling each other down.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes zero sense to me.
Exactly. I think, and it's one of those things where it's a lot easier said than done, because when a lot of it, especially in the New Zealand thing, I think comes from a hunger thing and an availability. It's like there's a scarcity of shows, there's a scarcity of opportunities, so it hurts that little bit more when you don't get it.
Yeah,
you're right.
But at the same time, I always think about it like, okay, let's imagine if we do succeed and we do make it where we want. If that's the case, do I want to look back and say, I was supportive of these people, or I was, and it's like whether you support other artists or don't, it's probably not going to have any influence or major impact on how you'll grow in the scheme of things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've kind of covered a lot of my stuff from my notes there. Any sort of other exciting things that you've like to sort of let the listeners know, or any sort of parting words or piece of advice?
No, I don't think so. There's nothing I can think of off the top of my head. It's mostly just new music coming up, the shows that we're doing. I guess just for anyone who does end up watching it, just thank you for the support. Like it's been crazy. It's like we're getting to do a bunch of stuff that we never really thought we were going to get to do. So, and it's thanks to people actually listening and caring and things like that. Otherwise, like, no, we don't get to do any of this. So, yeah, it's dope. So, yeah.
Agreed.
100%. So if you're in the area in Europe, keep an eye out for those tour dates with Periphery, January to February. Thanks so much, guys. I had an awesome time, and I think we have to have some of the other boys on later on as well.
Sick. Thank you for having us.
This has been
worries.
awesome. Thank you very much.